What is everybody? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. Breaking: Monique Tepe's family helped her escape from her ex-husband, but first, we have a new interview by Spencer's cousin, and it featured here on the Today.
This morning, new questions surrounding the murders of Ohio dentist Spencer Tepe and his wife, Monique.
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
NBC News obtained audio of a 911 callback traced to the Tepe's home at around 2:45 in the morning on April 15th, more than 8 months before the couple was shot and killed at the same address.
Me and my man got into it, but I'm okay, I promise.
Did anything ever get physical?
No.
The family tells NBC News that's clearly not Monique's voice. Columbus police have so far declined to answer questions about the call.
But with cell phones, it's a lot different.
But former FBI Special Agent Brianna Fox tells us while the 911 call was traced to the Tepe's address, it's still possible the call was made from outside the home.
It could be somebody walking by out front. It could be a neighbor. It just means that that's their best guess at the time of an emergency situation.
News of the mysterious call as police say they're looking for a person of interest, seen here in this surveillance footage. Walking in the
Again, the Today show listing this as a new twist in dentist death mystery. Again, I don't know why it's the new twist in the dentist death mystery. 2 people were murdered in their home with their kids there, and at least 1 dog, but authorities were saying 2 dogs based on the records from the call logs from the radio. Now, this new twist comes in when they're bringing in the fact that this 911 call that we've already talked about. But here you're going to see a new person that's going to speak out, and it's Spencer's cousin.
Alley near the Tepe's residence around the time of the double homicide. Hours later, the grisly murder scene was discovered by a friend checking on the couple after Spencer Tepe failed to show up for work.
There's a body.
Police later located 2 adult victims suffering apparent gunshot wounds, as well as 3 spent 9mm casings, according to the police report. The couple's 2 children, ages 4 and 1, were inside the home and unharmed. Family members of the Tepes struggling to make sense of the tragedy.
They were, warm and welcoming and, handled each day with such enthusiasm. They were just
So right here, Audrey,
warm.
Audrey Mackey, cousin of Spencer Tepe, the first person other than Rob that I've seen come out and speak. So I wanted to show you guys that. This was just put out about 2 hours ago from the Today show. Now, this live is to update us. I've been working on speaking with numerous people. I am local to Columbus, so I've mentioned this numerous of times that I actually had mutual friends with people that were friends with the victims. So I've been gathering as many people as I can to try to get any type of information. And here's what I want to bring to you guys today, which is, I believe, breaking. If you guys can check out the description of this video, you can see everything I'm about to talk about in an outline type form. Again, this, though, is the first person other than Rob to speak out that I've seen, and that is the cousin of Spencer.
And welcoming.
Audrey.
And, handled each day with such enthusiasm. They were just really kind and solid. They're a great couple.
Aaron, you mentioned a person of interest. Is there any more info?
Well, police say they believe the murders took place on December 30th between 2 and 5 a.m. in the morning. This person of interest that you see there in the surveillance footage was spotted in the area at the time. Authorities are urging members of the public who may have more surveillance footage to come forward. We know that surveillance footage can be absolutely critical to solving these cases. You may remember the Brown mass shooting. Surveillance footage.
All right, so here's your timeline here. Monique was married before Spencer. And in 2013, Monique was engaged to be married to Michael McKee, who was working to become Dr. Michael McKee. And so engaged in 2013. Now in 2015, in August, they would be married. In then September of 2015, they got married in Columbus at a Catholic church. In 2015, in September, though, just that next month, a month after they would be married, they then moved together to Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia, the Virginia Tech area. And one of the many sources I've spoken to, one of them saying that for a month prior to moving there and buying that home in September, Michael was living in his car out there. So again, take that. Now, 2016, beginning in January through April of 2016, Monique opened up to her family about how miserable she was in Virginia. And it had a lot to do with her marriage and relationship, but also she leaves Columbus, where she obviously has her family, her friends, and goes to a city, an area where she's never been, and moves there. She's also going to then work from home remotely for Nationwide. And so she's an outgoing person. Her husband is an introvert, and she is basically home 24/7, and he's at work. So they're alone a lot. Her and Michael continued to grow apart, and they would fight. They had completely different political views. He, a conservative, and her not so much. Monique was an outgoing person, again, like I said, and he was an introvert. He liked things like the ballet and plays, and her not at all. Actually, like Monique, I prefer the short north arts and bar happy hour and nightlife. She did too. And she would go off socializing with her friends and her couple groups, with her group of girlfriends, to go down to the short north area. Monique knew she wanted to come home to Columbus, and she accepted the help of her family to move her back while Dr. McKee was at work. Her family rented a U-Haul and went down there, moved all of her stuff. She then comes back, and this all happened while he was not there. Poof. Got it all done, gone. Yes, that means Dr. Michael McKee, he came back to an empty house after work. Again, only Monique and Michael know the whole truth on how it all played out. And if this was a stealth operation and, you know, a true, like, hey, we're going to help you, but we're going to do it stealth-wise. Leave while he's at work, pack all the stuff in U-Haul, and we're out. We found out through divorce papers that Monique paid for her own wedding ring and engagement ring, at least a decent portion. Ouch. Not a good look on paper. Shit. Talk about an image killer. And most doctors are all about that image. At the time of their divorce, both of them were making roughly about $50,000 a year. Again, that's per the divorce paperwork. Now, TNT sources here, this is multiple independent sources. They claim that it was anything but a quick and easy divorce. Even though the filing happened, which would look quick on paper, Monique shared text messages with close friends during that separation and divorce period because Michael would not sign the divorce papers. Now, Monique moved back home in the spring of 2016. For the record, all sources that I've talked to said that Dr. McKee, again, did not want this divorce. And in fact, two independent sources, after she left Virginia, she came back and was living for a little bit of time with her folks. And while she was living with her folks for that short period of time, Michael would send her, whether it was a package or a card, and he would sign the cards, love your husband. Okay. I would love to know what you guys think about that. After the divorce was finalized, Dr. Michael McKee deleted social media accounts, and some say he even changed his phone number. And no one that I have spoken with maintained any type of relationship with him, even though they were all mutual friends or buddies in the past, nor heard from him since. One source claimed that Monique mentioned that Michael said he was, quote unquote, never going to not be in her life. And that once he finished up school and received his $50K, normally doctors, surgeons, they're going to receive that a signing bonus. And it was interpreted as that once I get my $500K, that he would buy a house right next to her. Literally. buy a house right next to her. That is what she told friends. This led to Monique claiming that she may need to get a restraining order down the road, and she used the phrase, if these delusional thoughts, were to persist on him thinking that, what do you mean you're going to move next door to me wherever I live? When referring to the headspace that Michael was in at the time, it was like, this is just delusional that he thinks that this whatever. What is he talking about? Again, that separation began in 2016. The divorce was finalized in June of 2017. All sources emphasize, and this is important, that Monique was very anxious, jumpy when she would be around him or because of him. And they use the term, like, he was a monster, which I don't know. She would never refer to his name. Anyways, she never wanted to speak to him or see him again. Full transparency, though, no source ever claimed that there was any physical violence between the two. There would just be he was notorious for silent treatments, and emotional. It was all emotional, silent treatments. After the divorce, I asked about, Monique dating other men, after Mike, but yet before meeting Spencer. I asked about those men as far as having any weird, offset, interactions. And those sources said that, well, a couple of them couldn't even name one of the people, but one of them said that maybe one person you can even consider maybe semi-serious, but they couldn't even give me names. So talk about so much for swiping right? Monique had friend groups from all stages of her life. This was a big part of our conversations, which was, she's had friends from when she was younger, then, high school, then college, then post-college, that she maintained. Whereas Dr. Michael McKee, he didn't. A source stated that no one has seen him in years, and I would doubt it if he has made a single significant connection since Monique, because Monique was his best friend. When people say, like, that's not just my wife, that's my best friend. And bros that I talked to, it was like, we didn't have bro time. He had Momo time. So take that for what you want. I did reach out to Dr. McKee, but have yet to receive any response. I will not. I just reached out once, and if he wants to respond, great. If not, great. In conclusion, I want to know what you guys think. With so many years being passed between, 2016, 2017 to now, it makes the most sense for me to think that Dr. McKee was just embarrassed by being divorced. He deleted his social medias and went on to have another life where he could escape the past huge letdown of losing his, best friend wife, moving out of the state of Ohio. And that therefore the only motive that I can see with the doctor and her ex here, Michael McKee, is in the way that Monique left him. What were the long-term effects from this Operation U-Haul stealth move? Monique back in the middle of the day or the night without a word, no talk, no closure, just poof, gone. And that's kind of what happened on December 30th, 2025. Poof, gone. Also, Dr. Michael McKee was adopted. Okay. And his parents were older. And so there was just him. So with that said, again, these are multiple sources that I have talked to over the days. I think you guys if you've been around this channel for a while, I would be spending a lot more time being live reporting or here in the office or out and about. And if you could tell, a lot of time has actually gone to, hey, pounding the pavement and talking to people and seeing what's up. And so therefore, obviously that cuts into a lot of time that's going to be like, out here, let's just talk about the case. No, let's just go find out what's going on. Are detectives reaching out to people? Are people reaching out to detectives? Think about it. Your friends know you the best. Your spouse knows you the best. Your family knows you the best. People from even like your past, how were things back in the day? who could I possibly talk to that would ever have come in contact with both Monique and, her ex? Like, and a lot of people didn't even know what his name was. That was like people that she had met down, further past, who became friends after the fact. They didn't even know what his name was until this happened. So that's pretty interesting. So with that said, I just wanted to get that information out to everybody. And I'm just curious of the whole, it's been so long. They didn't have any kids. If you read the divorce paperwork, I mean, there's no money. Okay. It's not like she got some, there's no financial thing I see there. But what I could see here is how did it leave him if she just up and leaves one day and it's like they never talked about this, but only those two know truly how it happened. But I thought it was interesting that when somebody in a relationship asks their family for help, when you're, especially when you're married, you want your family to accept your relationship and like the person that you're with. The last thing that you do is you go tell mom and dad that, hey, so-and-so's doing this and that. And then they all of a sudden have it's just never going to be the same type of relationship. You try to protect that. So I think anytime that a daughter or a son goes to their parents to talk about marriage issues and, hey, I got to get out of this, versus just you vent to your friends. Okay. When you go to your parents, that's not who you're not venting to them. Right. Again. So I think it'd be a big thing that if I came home from work and poof, everything was just gone from my house that was the other person's that I'm married to. They're gone, their clothes are gone. And then, personal effects that would have come before the marriage that they, when we moved. So I don't know what type of effect that would have. I do know that if he was adopted and there was any type of, I don't know what went on in his life early on, talking about like abandonment issues or something like that. But I thought that is there any type of correlation with how then this all played out down the road and why anybody would wait this 2016 and 17, it's 2025 going into 2026. But I was like, well, how did they end up? How did they break up? What type of terms was this? And if this was like a poof stealth operation, family's coming, getting you, we're going to do this all when he's at work. Let's go load everything up, one trip and head back, and then saying things like, after that all happens, hey, I'm going to, when I get my signing bonus and I get my $500,000, I'm going to buy a house right next to, where you live. I'm going to be your neighbor. What? I'm going to be your neighbor. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, so again, I thought it was just, woo. That could be a closure issue. If things didn't end, the right way, or you got your closure and then you're dealing with somebody who, I don't know. So I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Again, local here to Columbus, people that have been with my channel for a while, they know that. I'm a Ohio girl born and raised in Cleveland, baby. I'm not going to find a day that I did not root for my Cleveland teams. When we're not playing, I root for my, I became a Bearcat after that. So obviously I'm going to root for Cincinnati even over the Buckeyes. But I'm Ohio all day. And this happened in my backyard. And then small world is people that I've known for years since the early 2000s knew and were friends with these people that got murdered in their home in an area that is, yes, there are parts that are shaky, but they'd been living there since 2020, guys. Okay. You know, they just move into the area. They had been there. They had a nice little knit group of friends that even just lived right around them, including their neighbors. So, I thought about it from the standpoint of when she got married to Spencer, I wondered why, if you look up the property, her name's not going to come up. And so immediately I thought, well, if I didn't want someone to know where I lived, I'm not going to go on the deed. That could be a reason. People have also said, it could be because maybe she just didn't have good credit. You know, maybe her credit score got, screwed up, whatever. But I definitely think you have to put in the column that if she didn't put her name on the house, and could that potentially be because I don't want you to look me up and find me? All I can tell you is that I have not spoke to Dr. Michael McKee. Like I said in my conclusion, I think that he was just embarrassed. He got rid of his socials. He completely was like, get me the hell out of here. And I'm going, and moving to, he's done time with different works in Vegas, LA, and now I believe he is in Illinois. In fact, I know he's in Illinois. So people are asking in the chat, does he still practice? What is he doing? You guys, like I said the other night, I was shocked. Okay, I was shocked. Usually doctors are big egomaniac people, and they want their name on everything. I'm the best at this. I'm going to be the best at this. I'm going to be the best at this. And there was a huge mistake in the beginning of, wait, Michael D. McKee, and there's a lot of them, but you would think that one would just stand out as being, I don't know, all these accolades and any type of fellowships that he's done and where he's a surgeon. Yeah, no, it's just not there. I did think, it was nobody, when I was talking to anybody, it was all the same. Nobody had anything that was like, oh my God, what is that? For me to say, what is that person talking about? This person has it all wrong. Because how I would present things is like, well, this is what I've been hearing. How were your experiences the same? Did you, ever have similar experiences? Can you give me any examples? Stuff like that. And when people are saying, when I first heard about it, within 30 seconds of hearing the news, they said this person's name. Illinois to Ohio is not that far. Nope. Chicago's like 5 hours from here. I did ask people, hey, you saw that video? And every single person said that is not Michael. Every single person said that is not Michael, that person of interest video. Every single person said 1,000% that is not Monique's voice on that 911 call. I'm waiting personally we put in a different FOIA and how we went about it. For a FOIA is Freedom of Information Act. In Columbus, you can put in public requests. And we put in our public request to the Transparency did a couple days ago, and we did it differently on how we were asking for a couple of different things. One of those things is the body-worn camera of the officer that went to the house originally at 9:15 that was dispatched and was there from 9:15 until 9:22, and then left the scene at 9:24. Here is, and then the other thing that we asked for was we wanted more specifics on the call that had originated on April 15th, 2025. We want confirmation, because I have not seen it in black and white myself, that it happened at 2:45 in the morning. Okay, that was a Tuesday at 2:45 in the morning. I want to see that for myself. Again, I've stated this last night. For me, the call, then it was a hang up, and then the call back that the person then answered the phone. Can they release the last 4 digits of the caller, of the phone that called? Because was it Monique's cell phone? Was it Spencer's cell phone? Like, let's just eliminate that. Like, last 4 digits, what was it? I think that the family would be able to tell you if those are the last 4 digits of her number. So you can give out information like, here, block out everything except for the last 4 digits. Then let the family see that, you know? I think the family would know, and her friends would know, hey, you hear this voice, you know? But I think the person answering the call right back when the police called tells me that they were able to answer the phone. There's no issues. I just find it hard that the police officer did not ask, who am I speaking to? Maybe the police officer knew who they were speaking to because of the trace locate, you know? But just because the phone says a name doesn't mean that's the person who has the phone. So I'm just kind of shocked that the police officer, when he called back, didn't ask, you know, what the person's name was. You know, hey, it's kind of late. Like, are you sure you're okay? It's 2:45 in the morning. You know, I don't know. Like, I would have, there's other questions that I would have immediately been, especially if you're trained in that situation, get a name. They don't get a name. Unless there's way more to the call that we haven't got. So like I said, we put in a request. We should get it back today. Columbus is really good about getting you back your requests. So that's good. Yeah. You know what? You know what's great about that, Brian? Plunder always does a great job. She's also in Ohio. So I love when she wears her Ohio t-shirts and she does when she does streams. It's like, yeah, look at Ohio over here. So yeah, if you haven't seen Plunder's been doing great work for a long time. Paula works hard. And amen to Paula. You know, she's right with God too. So how many murders have happened in that area in 2025? I don't have that number offhand. I don't have that number offhand. But I find it interesting that everybody that's mainstream national news I want to see a correspondent come down and stand out in front of that house. I want to see people they're just having panels of ex-law enforcement, ex-lawyers. That's what these panels are consisting of when Court TV is doing a show or Long Crime's doing a show. I'm like, why aren't they sending anybody down here to put pressure on? We haven't had one press conference. So like the reason that I wanted a press conference is I want to go ask some questions just because you want clarification on things. You want to be able to report on the right information. But I just feel like there's no pressure from the national outlets, and Columbus would love to keep this as hush-hush as possible, especially people that are in a political office or people that want to become in political office. I'm surprised they're not jumping all over the opportunity to use this as a, you guys, where this happened, there are so many, throw out the residential cameras. There are so many Columbus police safety 360 cameras surrounding that house. And it's in a one-way like trap, I feel like. And I've said this so many times. That area over by close to like it's really close to OSU, by the way. It's one-way heavens, I call them. Like if you're in a vehicle, you can only go one way down 8th. You can only go one way down 9th. You can only go one way down Summit, and you can only go one way down 4th. And that's their block that they're in. Okay. So there's only so many ways you can go if you think that you're going to do this in a car or a vehicle. And I just don't think that they did. I think that obviously the vehicle was somewhere else. But again, I said this the other night. I question, how many interviews have been going on. Maybe Columbus is sitting back to say, okay, after a week here, now we're going to start interviewing people because we're going to start asking for phones of friends to see if they'll just give them up so we can download them. And let's see anybody that would have, I don't know, deleted anything, tried to get rid of things. Oh, my phone automatically resets and I don't have any of our text messages. Or, so if Columbus is just like, hey, we can do a lot of things, and it's not going to compromise the investigation by us not getting out and having these official interviews where we're calling people down to the station or even showing up to their house in person. Because another thing that I was told is that these so-called, if there's interviews going on, that they're not happening down at any station. So, how safe is it around the university? You guys, they've been living there for a very long time. There was nothing stolen. They travel all the time. If somebody wanted to like go into a place, hey, then go when they're not there. It's the holidays. Pay attention to when they're not there. You want to go in and you want to steal stuff or whatever you think that they have. They travel often. They're not there, right? Around the holidays, that's when so many people get broken into. This was almost like the exact opposite. I want to, like, when are they going to be there? And it's only going to be them because they always entertain. So think about your friends that have, especially on the holidays. Let's say that you're from Florida. You live in Ohio, but during the holidays, when you go home and spend a week around Christmas, right, with your family, you're going to stay at your parents' house, right? But maybe there's a couple nights that you go and hang out on the water at a friend's beach house with the kids for a couple nights. Okay, so think about that. So if people were ever visiting here in Ohio and they're like, hey, we're coming to town, to hang out with the family. We want to hang out with you guys as well. We'll spend a couple nights at your place, but we're mostly going to be at my parents for the week, but we'll do a couple nights over there at your place. Me and my friends, we do that all the time. My family, we're a pretty big family, and that's like normal. So it's been repeated over and over and over that they have their friends, their extended family, their immediate family, they're on the skirts. Rob has come out and said, I have stayed at that house 100 times. That's because they'll spend the night. They spend hey, we're going to go there and we'll stay 2 or 3 days because we'll come on a Friday and then we leave on Sunday. So we spent the weekend up there, that type of stuff. And if they were doing this with their group of friends, because a lot of people have met through their professions later in life and they're well established and they love to travel, then sleeping over and visiting people is absolutely normal. But somebody that's trying to isolate these two and take out both of them, then yeah, we want to do this in their home. No one's going to be there. Okay, when's that going to be? That's what I see. I see that this wasn't just a casing job from the outside, looking all around the area, but then the schedules of all of these people. When I say all of these people, I'm talking about the victims and people that would be their friends coming and going. So, also, I agree. How would a random person just get in? They wouldn't. But how did they get in? I'm actually kind of shocked at the way that mainstream media has gone about talking about this case. You know, usually they don't talk about cases the way they have with this. Is it's like, for example, with the Idaho 4 case, they were never talking about any 4 of those victims and like what they were into and who their friends were. That didn't happen ever. This case, it's like, okay, are they really as charming and nice as everybody says they are? And it's like, what? You know, I don't know. I think that's weird. It's almost like they see that person of interest video like all of us saw, and they're not buying it for a second. Meanwhile, in other cases, it's like, yeah, look at that speeding away car. That's the car that did it. You know, and immediately it's just like, so it's really interesting with this. And you almost wonder, it's like, who are their sources? Maybe they have some sources that they've talked to that say that are saying something. I just know that they all care about the ratings. And you could tell by the title of their videos. It's like Monique wasn't even dead. Like the Ohio dentist. Oh, he was married to her. You know, the Ohio dentist and his housewife. How did the man see the body? The man was inside. 3 men were inside. I went over that. What was it, yesterday? With the CAD notes, the wellness checkers, the citizens, they got in the house before the police did. According to the CAD notes, that means the radio, when they went into the house, they're saying that there was more than 1 dog. Again, though, you gotta caution there because the dispatcher kind of struggles with, hey, my name is Cam, C-A-M. And then she writes Pam, P-A-M. So, yes, last night's show, I think they didn't like when I put out that preliminary investigative report. No one wants just the actual like facts, and you see it in black and white. It's like, oh, we got to get that off of there somehow. Report this video. Report this. So yeah, if it's being reported out there, 1000%, they were found in their master bedroom upstairs. They were able to make entry, and one of the reports, I say one of the reports, the investigative preliminary report said that there was a open door / it could be either door or window. And if you recall from the 911 calls, hey, do I need to like break in? Like I hear a kid. Do I need to like break in? So I'm curious, like, what are the 2 dogs that were there? What do we need so Mary says, I see Monique's law in our future. How do you think that's what type of law? How would you make it a law? Or from this case, what law do you think would be coming in play? I think in this case, it's just they had a Ring doorbell camera at the front door. They didn't have a camera per se at the back, but if that house had the Simply Safe setup, that would be cameras inside. Or it could. It has that potential. What else? I think in this case, you have to look at what the X factors would be. Thank you there. What's up, Layla? Thank you. Brian, thanks again. What are the X factors? Like what something new or different that came into their lives? Um, they'd been living in the home, like I said, since 2020, and they got married in that home. That video was put out in July of 2021. And like what recently changed? Was there anything that changed recently? You know, I'm curious when you want to talk about that. There's 3 gunshots that were. I should say that there's 3 casings. We don't know if those casings were left there and they have nothing to do with anything, and it was planned like that. But if Monique only had 1 gunshot and it was to like the side or chest or back or whatever they want to say, because again, that's just over the radio. That's not somebody actually like standing over the body and, you know, reporting like you're at some autopsy. Also, so it's take that for what it's worth. It's not the gospel. But I think if she only had 1 shot, that's very, very risky. People survive a gunshot wound all the time. So if you think that you're just going to shoot her once, in the chest or in the side of the back, as he was describing it, it looks like it went to the side and up to the chest or something. But that's how he described it when he was the first responding officer. How do you know that she couldn't get to her phone and call 911? Let's see. If I put, do you guys want to hear the entirety of the first 911 call? I don't know if you guys have ever heard that entirety of the original call. Mark says his phone number though. I'm gonna take that out. But have you listened to the actual whole 3 minutes and 2 seconds of that call? I know that has not been put out in its entirety. How about this? I will play all 4 of the calls right now. Do we know the ex-husband's profession? Yes, doctor, surgeon, vascular surgeon. Also, I got confirmation on this. For a small stint there, yes, one of my sources is the one who confirmed, hey, when I met her, she was definitely teaching, but that was not a long-lived career. So I was like, okay. So I finally heard from somebody that, hey, this whole teaching and that I got when I met her, she was definitely teaching. So, okay, let me play this one. Here is now the first 911 call.
Columbus Police, Tech 107. Yes, I would like to ask for a wellness check on an individual at their home. What address? 1411 North 4th Street, Columbus, 43201. What's your name? Mark, M-A-R-K, Valrose. What number?
I'm muting this.
3.
Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm currently in the state of Florida. I'm on vacation, but this individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
He didn't show up to work?
Correct.
Okay. Does he have medical problems or?
No, and he's been reliable, and we cannot get in touch with him, his wife, his family, anybody that lives in that house.
Okay. So
There's
you're
2
in
kids in
Florida.
the home. I'm in Florida. I own the business. I was informed by my employees that he was not at work. And he runs the office.
How old is Spencer?
Spencer is, I don't know, 30.
Okay, when she says okay like that, I'm going to stop this just for 1 second. When there's nothing I can do about the volume, guys. This is exactly how they sent it, and I tried to enhance it, and I'm still working on being able to enhance it, but I'm unable to right now get this into my editor. Okay, I have to hit Columbus back up. I don't know what they did when they sent these to me, but I am unable to upload them into my editor. Anyways, real quick here. When she says, or I'm sorry, he says, I'm in Florida. Do you hear that long pause? And then she was about to ask something, and then she's listening to him talk about something, and she's like, okay, just like that. She's looking at the trace locate. She's looking at the trace locate, and she's like, Florida. This is trace locating to Lancaster, Ohio. Lancaster, Ohio. And it's right where the Aspen Dental is, which is not, I mean, I don't know if he owns that branch over there, this guy, but she's really confused, and rightfully so, because the trace locate is not trace locating to Florida. So I want you guys to hear that part right again here.
That he was not at work. And he runs the office.
You hear how long that was? Again, check this out.
Stay home. I'm in Florida. I own the business. I was informed by my employees that he was not at work. And he runs the office.
Okay. How old is Spencer?
Spencer is, I don't know, 36, I believe. 37.
Last
Tepe, T as in Thomas, T as in Paul, T, Tepe. Have you guys received anything else, like calls about him or like a car accident or?
Okay, right there. That's just the part that mainstream media has never played. Okay. Have you guys received any other calls about him? And I think it's important to play in its entirety. It is what it is. Here it is. And the local news outlets told me that, hey, we only have a minute and 30-second segment. And I'm like, well, why? Like, if a story needs more time than that, it needs more time than that. Or use your YouTube channel that you have to put out stuff in its entirety and tell people to go to your YouTube channel to catch the entirety of all the calls. Say something like that, man. Come on, you guys have so much fucking money, man. Like, be more transparent. Here, there's more to it. Hold on.
Something like that? Have you guys received anything else? Like, Spencer is, I don't know, 36, I believe. 37. Tepe, T as in Thomas, T as in Paul, T, Tepe. Have you guys received anything else, like calls about him or like a car accident or anything like that?
Sometimes people just don't show up to work. I mean, maybe he's sick, I don't know. But he's 36, his name's Spencer Tepe. What does he look like? Is he white, black, Hispanic?
He's white. He's probably 6'2", blondish hair. Probably 185 pounds.
So did you receive information that he may have been involved in an accident? Or?
No, ma'am. I just know that he is he is always on time and he would contact us if there's any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. Like, we're very, very concerned that this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the most concerning thing.
Okay. We will send somebody over as soon as we have an officer available, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so that was that. And actually, I think the call originated at 8:58, and by the time it was over, it'd be right around 9:02. So, then the next call that came in at 9:57 in its entirety is this call.
What's location of your emergency?
1411 North 4th Street, Columbus.
Okay, 1411.
1411, yep.
Okay, what's the emergency there? Police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
We
wellness.
had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send them back out to you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so here, she does not ask, what is your name? You know, again, I want you to listen to this again. Listen to this again, because this is okay. They open up an incident for the first call. They send a cop out there. He gets there at 9:15. He does his check, and he's able to leave by 9:22, he says. Okay. Then this call takes place about roughly 30 minutes at 9:57 after that's this call at 9:57. So here it is.
911. What's location of your emergency?
1411 North 4th Street, Columbus.
Okay, 1411.
1411, yep.
Okay, what's the emergency there? Police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
We
wellness.
had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send them back out to you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So then here is then the third call, which comes in 3 minutes after that one. Okay. And it's like 2 minutes actually.
911. What's the location of your emergency?
14th Street, Columbus, Ohio.
What's the location?
1411 North 4th Street.
Okay, what's the emergency there?
Our boss did not report to work. We haven't been able to get a hold of him for 3 hours. We're on site and we can hear.
Okay, I just talked to somebody there.
Okay, I'm just making sure somebody called.
Yeah, I just got a call from somebody, and
Set it back up for this side. Okay.
Are you there? Because you're not showing that you're at the.
No, I'm en route there.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Pam, C-A-M.
That was the third call, and Cam is the dental hygienist at the Athens place. Yeah. I think she said 3 hours. Again, yeah, you could do the math and you could be like, wait, 3 hours? You've been trying to get a hold of him since 7 a.m. Again, it's an hour and a half drive for Spencer. Okay. He normally woke up, he had his routine. He normally would wake up and he had an hour and a half drive. So in order to have a patient at 8:30, he would always be 30 minutes early. So in order to be there at 8, one would have to leave at 6:30 in the morning. This was normal for him. This is his routine. So the thing that should bother everybody is that if you know, if you're like a logistic person and you understand common sense, Spencer would know as soon as he got into his car, if he was to leave at 7 o'clock, okay, he knows that he has an hour and a half drive, no matter what, no way around it. He is going to get there at 8:30. So it's common sense here that he has an hour and a half to notify us that, hey, Cam, guess what? I overslept or whatever the case may be. I'm on my way if you can, blah, blah, blah. Like you have all of that drive. So like that's a huge part of why anybody would be worried. Like there is not like he has so much time to notify anybody of, hey, I'm running late for something. That's like a big part of it. Then this is the fourth call. All of the calls came from different people. At least our girl asked what that girl's name was that time. Hey, what's your name? Because like I told you guys, she's looking at the trace locate. She's like, you're not even there. Like, what's going on? And then here's that fourth and final call. Oh, wait, there for the wrong one. Okay, here we go.
911, what's the location of your emergency? 1411 North 4th. Okay, 1411 North 4th. We've got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
Oh my God.
All fire and EMS operators are
Oh my God. Oh my God.
all fire and EMS operators are currently handling other calls. Please stand by for the next available
We've got
operator.
patrol on the way, and then I'm transferring you over to the medic.
From the Division of Paris, that is the address of the emergency. 1411 North 4th.
1411?
Yeah.
The house apartment?
There's a body. Our friend wasn't informed. He just a lot of shit. He just couldn't hear it. He appears dead. There's blood. He's laying next to his bed off of literally said it in this letter. They can get closer to see more than that. Yeah, yeah. Like, kind of like, you know, what do you think? It doesn't, it's kind of, it's like, I can't like.
See right there, he says, I can't look. That's the part that mainstream media and the local people left out when you're covering this case. He's inside. He just cannot look again. I cannot look. And he reiterates it right here again.
Like yesterday I was, how old is he? 37. No. Yeah, I understand. Okay. All right, we're on our way.
Okay, sir, can you stay on the line for a minute and can you give me your name?
Alex City.
I'm sorry.
Alex.
I'm just blanking out all this part.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have officers responding there. Do you know if he's been ill or anything like that?
No, I was just seeing today.
Okay. Do you know if he does drugs or anything?
No.
Okay. All right. We'll just talk to the officers when they get there, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Okay, so there you go. There you have it. All of it's in its entirety. William, thank you so much. Thank you. X hired someone at Huckleberry to spy, learn their routine. Does boss and X have connection? Is it true boss wife is a doctor in Lancaster? A lot of docs here. Yeah, I mean, like where he was at in Ashland, the Stone Creek Dental, they have tons of locations. They do have one that's out in Lancaster. They have one that's out in there's some in Columbus. There's Chillicothe. If you go onto their website, you can find all those locations. But yeah, and then it's actually normal practice for like dental hygienists to have like multiple locations that they go to as well. So, but I personally believe that it was a three-way call, and the call originated by Cam, and she called her boss, who's another dentist that knows Spencer. Obviously, and he's supposed to be like running the practice. He's in Florida. I think she calls him. Hey, what do you want me to do? We can't get in touch with him. Like, I think something's wrong. I don't know what to do. Should we do like a wellness check? Do you want to call? So I just believe that for whatever reason, when she called him, they stayed on the line, and then she then makes the phone call, and that's why it would originate from where she was located, not him, with that call to 911 / the non-emergency number. I think that we just found out that Spencer was with him yesterday, and what he's saying is, no, he's not like ill or anything like that. I was just with him, like, and he's like, think about this. Nobody realizes at the time, but these medics and dispatch people are asking questions on purpose to like trigger a certain response from you. Okay. And they're designed to keep you on the phone, and they're designed to keep you talking about things and ask questions. Is he ill? What are you talking about? No, he's got like, and then somebody could potentially say something that they shouldn't be saying, like that. That's what they do. And she immediately became suspicious. I'm telling you that. This woman that was taking these calls, you don't think that this you guys are all saying that it's suspicious. So she's getting suspicious. She even writes it in her call log in the radio CAD when she's talking to the office, and they're like, somebody found a body, and he's like, who found a body? Like, what are you talking about? Like, who? And she's like, I don't know, let me find out. And that's why she came right back on. And she's like, because she never got that caller's name and number when she's over here, like, let me transfer you to medic. So she comes back on and she's like, oh, hey, before you hang up, what's your name? You know, so again, this is what caused a lot of incorrect information from jump. It wasn't that they could see from a window, and people are then like, okay, they were down in the basement. Yeah, no. They all made their way inside. They were inside before the cops arrived. Okay, they made entry into the home. When the cops get there, 3 males are inside. He puts that over his radio. So 3 males are inside. So how I see that is one of those people had a friend with them. And hence the one kid said, we. So you have, I think your second caller is a we, and then Alex, and then Cam's on her way, and then you have the neighbor. So could the second caller be the we because they're with the neighbor? But there was 3 males that were inside that then got put into the cop vehicles, which they're supposed to be immediately separated, and then you're going to question them. And these people were literally calling 911 like nonstop, you know, and then they were immediately put in their cruiser cars so that they can all, because the most important part of all of this, guys, is preserving how that crime scene was. Hey, when you got there, I need to know how the house was. So the doors was locked, right? You couldn't open up the front door. Making sure that witness says that. What are these witnesses saying? When you got here, did you try to open up the front door? What happened? Did you hear anything when you opened it? No, I attempted to, and I couldn't, because like your hands, your fingerprints are going to be all over that doorknob. Okay. I tried to open up the door. I couldn't open it. The front door was locked. So all 3 witnesses are saying this. Then, okay, what'd you do next? Well, I hopped the fence and I went back to the back door. Okay. When I was back there, that's when I started hearing, like, I thought it was kids. And then I started calling their names, and then, you know, whatever their story is going to be. Okay, then what did you do? Well, then I tried to open up the back door. I couldn't open up the back door, you know? So you're going to have these 3 witnesses that you put in 3 different cop cars. You should be asking them these questions to be specific with, okay, who called you to come here? Okay. How did you get here? Did you ride? Okay. Were you all 3 together? What's going on here? We got multiple calls. Explain, you know, get it to be down. Hey, get their stories in, have them separated. That way no one's making everything up. But hey, guys, this is what we're going to say type of thing. I don't think there was any reason to do any of that, though. Not at all. But you're going to want to ask them about what they touched. Okay, when you went inside, what'd you do? Where'd you go? What'd you touch? Okay, you guys separated, or you guys all went upstairs and where do you go? Were the doors opened? Were the lights on? Were the doors, closed? Was any, what did the scene look like when you got there? Who made entry into the house first? Again, how do you know these people? Why'd you come here? Who have you talked to before? Who asked you to come out here? What time did you get that phone call? How do you know the victims? That's the type of stuff that they're going to be asking those people. I mean, you hope. And the big thing for me would be is, well, you have a dog. Do you have 2 dogs in there? Do you have a dog in there? Where was the dog? Where were the children? Well, the one child was in their crib. Did the children know you? Were they, because you're going to want to see if any of the children, I mean, probably not the 17-month-old, but, this is all trigger warning on how you're going to be examining the scene to see if anybody could have potentially have any blood on them that wouldn't be the victims. Okay. And I think that from hearing this, I think the inside of that house is going to be very, very important with when it comes to a BAU person saying, hey, if this was like this, you know, it would lead to looking for this type of a perpetrator. If it was like this, it would be this. If it was, you know, how did the killer leave the house when they left? In fact, if all the doors were locked, right? How can the killer leave this house and lock the doors? How could one do that? And they just have to look and see, you know, no offense, but you can't, for like, if I was to lock my house, how can I deadbolt it and close the door? You can't. Okay. You have to close the door, then use a key to like deadbolt it all up. Or like that house, it's not something where you could be inside, lock all the doors, and then go out the garage, open the garage, and then do like a run underneath and jump over, like, so you don't trigger it and it still closes. That's not that type of house. Okay. It's not something where the garage is attached. So that can't be an option. So whatever type of locks they had, and if the house was truly locked the way that it was, and, you know, how could somebody from the inside be able to leave and lock it up? How protected were the kids and the dogs, or dog, depending on if it was one or two? How protected were they from where the carnage was? I'd want to know that. You know, let's say that I wanted to make sure that the kids never saw anything. I could go and lock each one of those rooms, and, you know, you turn the locks and you walk out the room to make sure that neither one of those kids' doors could be opened to come out. Right? What if you did that? Well, immediately I would think that someone's protecting the kids. Where was the dog? Where does the dog normally sleep? Who would know these things? Yep. All of those questions matter. All of those, and it's all going to come from the first people that would have been in that house. Because what did they touch? What did they move? How was it? They have their hands prints all over windows. Okay, if they were trying to get in, they have their handprints all over the doorknobs. So think about that. The only thing that I would think would be sus about any type of a wellness call is that if you get a bunch of people to go over to a house, it would destroy any prints that could have been left on potentially the doorknobs or anything like that. And then also potentially like when they would get into the house. Again. I just feel really bad for, you can hear it on that last 911 call, and anybody that thinks that that's fake is absolutely off their fucking rocker. Anytime you're on a 911 call, it records from the moment that you press send to the moment that you hang up. Even when you're on like waiting and they're trying to transfer you, something happened where that kid said, "Oh my God." Okay. There was something that he saw. Oh my God. So there was something added to it, you know? And that's just absolutely fucking horrible. So sad. And if I was these kids that went there, I say kids, they're my age, so I always consider myself, yep, I'm still a kid. I'd be asking questions like, hey, why did you call me to go there? Why didn't you go there? You know, that's how I'd be like, I'd be in shock, but I would start questioning like, wait, how did I end up here? Who called me? You know, if we want to work our way from inside out, how did I end up here? Who called me? how did I get called? Why was I the one that would go in there? You know, these are the type of questions that I would be asking myself. And I'd be wondering. I can tell you this though, calling the police first, unless somebody has come forward to say, hey, yeah, well, when they called me, I actually went over there at this time. How do we know that other people didn't actually go there? They just didn't call 911 to tell them about the fact that they went over there. But I think if the first call from anybody was to the police, that actually shows a less of a sinister thing, in my opinion, because if you truly want to try to like fuck up the scene, call people and have individuals go there first and do exactly what I'm saying would have happened, and then wait to call the police. Like, hey, you guys try to get in, and then okay, now we'll call the police. You know what I mean? Like that's going to. But if the first phone call was to the police, I think that shows like a less of a sinister thing. So take that for what it's worth. Again, I don't know. So I'm interested in what type of locks they had. And I'm interested to know who knew their nightly routines and where people slept. I think for Rob to tell all of us that he believes in his heart that the kids, didn't come in contact with anything. It's kind of like the whole Murphy thing for me. Like Murphy didn't come in contact with any of the carnage of the Idaho 4 murders. That's significant. That's significant when Murphy was allegedly found in a bedroom with the door open, just supposedly chilling on a bed. So, all right, guys. Well, I have another live to get to. We will continue on doing everything that we can to bring as much factual information. This is close to home. This is in Columbus, Ohio. It's very sad. And Columbus Police Department being so tight-lipped, it is not. Come on, media. Come on, use your platforms. Start knocking on some doors. Till next time, guys. You can join me on the next thread. Thank you so much.